So I think there's a lot of confusion these days around the best way to make a smoothie. Smoothies are pretty popular around the world, but there's a lot of misunderstanding about the basics. So the most important thing is in the name, and it's the word smooth. And I just mentioned this because some places don't even blend properly. Basically, you need a blender and you need proper blender technique. And a lot of that is about not adding liquid too fast. There's basically two styles of smoothie as far as I'm concerned. So one is fruit puree and the other is milkshake. And we all know that milkshakes are delicious, and there's no reason why we can't have every smoothie taste like a milkshake. To get a milkshake type of vibe, you need things to be cold and creamy. So I'm going to start with the cornerstone ingredient, frozen bananas. Even if you don't like the taste of bananas, there's something about it where they get really creamy, and it starts to be like ice cream already just from the frozen banana. So the texture and even the taste is a lot different from a fresh banana. If I see a smoothie recipe on the internet and they're using fresh bananas, you know immediately that this author is full of it. Like they might just make videos and they don't taste the stuff they're making. The people that say, here's how to make a smoothie, you start with a frozen banana, those are the people that know what they're talking about. So I'm gonna put about one frozen banana. That's all you really need. There are other things you can do, and this is a little adventurous maybe for some of you, but lately I do frozen avocados, which you can get at grocery outlet, almond butter, peanut butter, coconut milk or coconut cream. And you can just use water as your liquid, but it doesn't hurt if you use something more creamy as your base liquid. So if you're short on all those ingredients, even just adding a little bit of oil, I don't think I would do this without frozen bananas, but just adding a little bit of oil can add some creaminess. So the bananas, the avocados are both frozen. The coconut milk I'm using is chilled. And I'm probably going to bulk this out with a lot of other fruit, but it's always going to be frozen fruit. I almost never want to put fresh fruit in a smoothie if I can freeze it. So as I mentioned, blender technique. So I'm going to start with the frozen ingredients, bananas, avocados. These tend to be pretty hard, although these have been out for a minute, softening up. Coconut cream, I'm going to use a little peanut butter. This is going to seem a little crazy. Just skip this, just avert your eyes if you want. I do like putting a little bit of greens in smoothies. If it's just a handful and there's other flavors, you essentially don't notice it, or I don't notice it. Probably good for you. I have frozen strawberries. I'm just going to add some of that to bulk this out. You can also add ice. When I was a student and when I was living on 45K a year in Cambridge, I would see how cheaply you can make this with, ice, water, oil, a little bit of nut butter, a little bit of frozen banana, cocoa. You can make a pretty good milkshake for not too much. So I'm adding some cocoa. This is Dutch process. All of this is very optional. Add a little bit of cinnamon because it's good for you. Flax and protein powder because those are good for you. This is Trader Joe's brand ground flax, which is pretty fine. So to me, it's not very grainy. So just notice again, I've added mostly solids, almost no liquid. So this won't actually blend very well at the moment. So I'm gonna just pulse. So it's kind of coarsely ground like gravel. You can kind of see it's chopped up but not liquid at all. So we still don't want to add too much liquid. I'm just going to add a bit. It's maybe about a cup. We'll blend again. So I think at the bottom it's getting fairly smooth. Yeah, check that out. So at the bottom you see something fairly fairly smooth. And I'm just gonna add another cup of water or milk. And the goal is to get it as smooth as possible while it's as thick as possible. So we're just trying to minimize how much liquid we add. We're getting there. So this is pretty smooth. It's not fully smooth. You can see it's very thick. I'm holding it sideways. It's not even... This is clearly in the ballpark of a milkshake, which is what we want. I'm going to add a bit more coconut milk. And I think you can see that looks closer to a milkshake than to, you know, blended fruit and greens or something like that. Come on, autofocus. I think autofocus is struggling here. So I'm just gonna turn off the video and take a still.